On the bustling school playground, Brandon storms onto the scene, his every step resonating with unbridled energy. He aggressively pushes through the crowd of children, disrupting their innocent games with his abrasive presence. His voice cuts through the joyful sounds of the playground as he shouts, "Move out of my way!" The other children scatter, their carefree laughter silenced by Brandon's sudden outburst. Brandon spots a group of children playing innocently with a toy truck. With a sudden burst, Brandon snatches the toy truck, his laughter echoing cruelly. The children look up, their faces etched with disappointment and helplessness. Brandon towers over them, relishing their fear. The children huddle together, fear gripping their small bodies. Brandon's laughter continues to fill the playground, a stark reminder of his dominance. Bathed in sunlight, the classroom buzzes with the innocent joy of juice time. A juice box slips, chaos erupts as juice splatters across the table. Brandon's laughter pierces the air, his grin mocking. "Haha, you're so clumsy." The teacher's stern voice cuts through the laughter. "Brandon, that's not kind." Brandon retorts, "I don't care." Under the bright daylight, a new figure emerges onto the bustling school playground. Max, the new kid, breaks into a hopeful smile, his eyes scanning the playground. A voice pierces through the joyful noise. "Hey, new kid, that's my seat." All activity in the playground halts. Every child now gazes toward the confrontation. Max pauses, his initial smile faltering slightly under the sudden challenge. The scene hangs in suspense, the air thick with unspoken tension. Max stands unflinching, his gaze steady as he responds calmly to Brandon. With unexpected defiance, Max states, "But there's plenty of room." Brandon, taken aback by Max's composure, knocks Max's hat off. Max bends down, retrieves his hat without a word, his face betraying nothing. Turning away from the confrontation, Max walks toward the blocks, his back turned. The playground bursts with life as children's laughter fills the air under the warm sun. Brandon's shadow falls over Max, who is absorbed in building a tower of blocks. A sudden act of aggression as Brandon reaches out, his hand poised to destroy Max's creation. Max's voice rings out, a plea for fairness. "That's not nice. You wouldn't like it if someone did that to you." The tower stands precariously, a symbol of Max's threatened efforts and Brandon's looming decision. The school playground is invaded by a gang of bigger kids, their menacing laughter ripping through the air. They swagger, their shadows looming ominously over Brandon. With cruel glee, the bigger kid snatches his soccer ball. "Your shoes are silly, tiny toes." Brandon's face crumples as his joy turns to despair. Brandon's voice is lost in the playground's taunting echoes, swallowed by the laughter of bigger kids. His small hands reach for the ball, a symbol of joy now dancing cruelly out of reach. The ball floats mockingly overhead, embodying the growing despair in Brandon's heart. Tears well in Brandon's eyes, reflecting the harsh reality of the playground's power dynamics. The school playground buzzes with carefree laughter, an oasis of joy under the sun. In stark isolation, Brandon weeps, his tears a painful counterpoint to the surrounding cheer. "Stop it! That's mean!" Brandon cries out, his voice a desperate plea against the rising tide of cruelty. With determined strides, Max and his classmates march toward the bullies. Max confronts the bullies. "Leave him alone, we don't treat people that way." The arrival of the teacher cuts through the playground's tense atmosphere. Guilt washes over the bigger kids as they scatter, tossing Brandon's ball back in a gesture of remorse. Brandon, still reeling, collapses onto the bench, his small frame burdened by shame and vulnerability. Tears well up as Brandon succumbs to his emotions, the bright playground now a cruel reminder of his isolation. He sits alone, shame and vulnerability weighing heavily on his small shoulders. The vibrant colors of the playground serve only to amplify Brandon's inner turmoil. In the school playground, Max's face shows worry as he sits beside Brandon. Brandon stares silently at the ground, his shoulders slumped in defeat. Max asks softly, "You okay?" Brandon replies, his voice barely audible, "I didn't like that. They were so mean." Max states, "Now you know how it feels." Amidst the lively playground, Brandon sits alone on a swing, lost in thought. He lifts his head, his gaze locking with Max's. A heavy admission hangs in the air as Brandon whispers, "I'm sorry." Max offers no response, his expression unreadable. Silence stretches between them, thick with unspoken words. Bathed in the gentle morning light, the classroom buzzes softly as Brandon offers a box of crayons. Lily's face brightens with a thankful smile as she accepts the colorful gift, her eyes sparkling with gratitude. Nearby, Jonah struggles amidst scattered blocks, his small hands fumbling with the chaos around him. Brandon, with a heart full of empathy, kneels to help Jonah, his gentle touch promising solace and support. His expression reflects genuine care, turning an ordinary scene into a moment of heartfelt connection and quiet kindness. The classroom buzzes with the happy chaos of juice time, a vibrant scene of childhood joy. Suddenly, a spill! Orange juice erupts across the table, shattering the carefree atmosphere. Amidst the chaos, Brandon leaps into action, grabbing a napkin with determined resolve. Brandon's quick thinking calms the rising tension as he begins to mop up the spill. With a reassuring smile, Brandon speaks with surprising maturity. "It's okay, accidents happen." The children's faces relax, reassured by Brandon's words as the juice is cleaned up. The school playground buzzes with youthful energy, a symphony of laughter and shared joy filling the air. Amidst the cheerful chaos, Brandon's kindness shines as he shares his toys, his face glowing with genuine happiness. A tender moment unfolds as Brandon notices a younger child struggling, his brow furrowing with concern. With a gentle touch, Brandon extends a helping hand, guiding the younger child with patience and care. The younger child, now beaming with accomplishment, joins the chorus of laughter, their face radiant with joy. The playground resonates with the pure sound of children's laughter, a testament to the simple beauty of kindness and camaraderie. Sunlight drenches the school playground as children's laughter fills the air, a symphony of youthful joy. Brandon, his face radiant with a genuine smile, engages in a lively game of tag with his friends. Brandon the buddy, not Brandon the bully, immerses himself in the lighthearted game. The air is filled with carefree spirits, a vibrant reflection of Brandon's positive transformation.